All right, good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Ben's Brick Designs. I'm Ben. Thank you for being here. I hope your weekend is going well and that you've got some Lego related stuff that you can be working on and building today. And if not, I just hope you're having a good weekend. So today's a little weird thing to be doing on the channel, but I have an old MOC that I talk about frequently, and it's the UT Tower, University of Texas Tower, not the University of Tennessee Tower. Good morning, Missy. How are you? It is the first real big MOC that I had built, and this was built with an ex-girlfriend who we use this to recruit people to join a lug that we had started within UT. And hello, Bev, how are you? Thank you both for being here. So it's been sitting at a Bricks Minifigs here in Austin for the past, year. And I will occasionally go grab it and use it for shows and stuff. And it has been, it's about 16 years old, this MOC. And I keep getting asked, especially by the Bricks and Minifigs, if somebody was interested in it, could they buy it? And I'm always like, nah, I'm never going to sell that. And then I thought, well, what about doing it as an auction item at Brick Rodeo? And then I thought, you know what, we're saving up for a trip. I'm going to go ahead and see about selling it. So I talked to a couple friends and I've never done this. What would I even ask for it? How much could I get for something like that? And they're like, this much, which is way out of what I thought was possible. And when I talked to Bricks and Minifigs, they said, yeah, we'd 100%. I phrased it in such a way that said, if anybody else expressed interest in buying the tower, I would very much, I would be okay taking them up on that. And my price is X amount. I'm not really going to say how much it was. And they're like, we're very interested in it. And they're like, I'm like, oh, okay. And they're like, would you take store credit? Partial store credit? And I'm like, well, normally, yeah, if it was just sets and whatever. I was like, but we're saving up for a trip and I can't really buy plane tickets with store credit. So they're like, no, totally understandable. But yeah, we're very interested. So I was like, all right, let me take it home for a little bit, clean it up, fix it up a little bit if I can. The top of the tower especially is a little grimy. Put a new base plate on under it. And then I want to digitize it, put it in studio so I can at least have it and say I did that, right? And when I talk to them about it later, they're like, no, you're not going to resell it or something that if you digitize it. I'm like, no, it's just for me, just to say I've done it, to have. And he's like, that's fine. So I started the process of it. Already started taking it apart. And does this camera work? Of course not. I think I've got my camera situation, or I got my computer situation working. The drivers for the video card were a little old, so I updated those, ran some memory tests, ran a reliability test, did scan disks, did everything. So I don't think it should lock up anymore. The ISP issue I'm working on, and I'm going to try to get my son to help me run new cable from the ISP pedestal in through the attic and down to the modem drop. So hopefully that'll take care of that. So I'm not saying today's stream will be without its problems, but we're there. So as you can see, I've already started taking this apart. This was the base. Like most things that I built, it's very hollow, but when all you're building is the outside structure, I wanted to make sure it looked good. I really didn't care what the inside looked like. It was only after I started getting a little higher with it that I realized that it was kind of collapsing in on itself. Part of these are real weak. But it survived 15 years with barely falling apart. I think I've had to rebuild this once. So however it was built pretty good. So I'm just in the process of like going through and redesigning it in studio so I can kind of have a copy of it. And it does mean transferring stuff in and out. So this might be a finicky process because I don't have a ton of room on the desk to do this, but that's what I'm doing today. Also, I'm going to be cutting this a little short today because Whatnot might be coming by or is coming by at noon to do a video, and Beth is back. Did somebody turn it into the front desk?
I guess so. They tried to give me someone else's purse. I was like, no, it's not that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take that if there's cash in it. We went to breakfast this morning and we get to the car and Beth goes, "Did I bring my purse?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." Because she has a habit of leaving her purse and wallet behind accidentally. So I have to pay for her food.
I feel like...
But?
Yes. I was going to say something much worse.
You feel like ass?
Much worse than that.
Warmed over ass? Okay.
So I'm going to take a Benadryl.
Okay. All right.
So I may be out till 2.
Okay, well, I may put the dogs in there when they come by. So I was just in the middle of it when you...
Oh, my bad. When I interrupted.
Well, no, I'm not interrupted when you came home.
Maybe I'll just sit on the couch and watch Grey's Anatomy.
That's a good idea. Why don't you stream while I'm doing a stream so that impacts the...
Oh, maybe I should sleep then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just... Look, you're like, no, go sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Shh. It's okay, Michael. Let it happen. Everybody says hi.
Hi. Oh, I can't go anywhere now.
Yes, I'm seeing that. So, Whatnot apparently is... I think they're going to have a table at Brick Rodeo or a booth, and they've been working with Josh, and they wanted to do like a video essay or something about people who have big collections. And we were like, well, we have people who have big collections of Lego in Austin. And so he and I were thinking about it, and I don't know what everybody else's house looks like. So I don't know what their collections or displays look like, because I've never really been to anybody's house in our lug. I've been to Will's house. His stuff is all in storage. I've been to Josh's house. His stuff is mostly in storage, but also he does a lot more, not really building, but like creating with printing and 3D, UV and 3D printing stuff. So he's got a different setup. And I know I've got some stuff displayed, not like a train room or a city room or something. Mine is what I call a work room because I'm constantly building new MOCs and, got storage going on. So I was like, so I really don't know. So we asked around. We ended up, I'm going to go ahead and start prying things apart while I talk too. We talked to a handful of people and Josh decided to go with Gene, Gene's version, who is an Austin person, but also has their own YouTube thing. And they've been doing YouTube stuff. They're an RFLM for the past, however long. So they're going to work with them. And I was like, that's great. I know they've got a nice big setup, so that'll work fine. Oh, this is too much. I didn't mean to take all of this off. So this all has to come off in chunks because it was kind of put together in layers, one piece at a time. Who knows whose hair that is. So then yesterday, Josh says, "Hey, they want to talk to you as well." I'm like, okay, well, I am not home. I was out. And I was like, well, when? He's like, well, either 5 to 7 today. I'm like, you can't do that. Or 4:36 tomorrow. And I said, I can't do that either. I've got plans. So they're going to come over at noon. They were very nice to come over at noon instead. I didn't want this much on here, so we're going to take some of this back. I kind of want to do it in small chunks. That was a whole thing, wasn't it? So yeah, so they're, and I don't exactly know what they're going to be doing, but they're going to be here. So, and I wasn't able to clean up my house or anything. So I was like, well, you're going to kind of get what, it's a working area. And, yeah, I hope you don't mind dogs, So it'll be fun. I'm going to try to promote Brick Rodeo as best I can, because that's part of the deal. So we'll see how it goes. So yeah, this whole process is bittersweet because this is my baby, and I've had it for a really long time, and I feel like I'm not known for it, but I think in Lego circles, people know that I've got that tower. I'm the tower guy. So it's kind of nice to be able to like get it to a good home, and for a pretty good price. Like I wasn't expecting them to agree to that. I thought I was gonna have to talk them down, or have them talk me down to something else, but it works just as good. That's locked up again. So in building, so this was built back in 2009, 2010. I want to say the summer of 2010. And this was pre-Bricklink. Like I didn't know about Bricklink. I didn't know about, I think we had just, the lug had been around for a while, at least a few years, but I wasn't really aware of it. And I think we had gone to a couple meetings, and we're kind of like, I don't think this is our bag, because it was like, 3 or 4 my age or older kooky white guys meeting in a library. And I was like, I don't think this is for us, but it all worked out. I ended up, having a really good time with it all. And becoming part of the group, so that was nice. That's off-centered by 1. Okay, so we're gonna try to remove this all and move it over. It's so much easier to do in the software. But because there was no Bricklink and there was no studio, this was done, and I wish I still had it. On a sheet of graph paper. The planning for it was a sheet of graph paper. And the idea was, if I can get most of it, if I can get the front of it, I can do all 4 sides. So spent a lot of time going to the location itself, to the tower, and standing there and doing sketches and looking at photos. And there were some areas I couldn't get to because it was too high, or nobody had a real good photo of it, so we did our best. What it ended up happening is, because it was done on graph paper, and Lego is not perfectly square. That's not perfectly square. It ended up being a little skinnier and taller than we thought. So I kind of compensated for it a little bit, but I think in reality, this is a little skinnier and taller than the actual tower. But I think it worked out well, given the tools that I had to work with. So this is cannibalized from all the parts that I had. There's probably some parts in here that I wouldn't mind keeping. These struts, right? These big struts in here. I forget what they're called. Stanchions. These big stanchions are not cheap. I'm a little loath to give them up. They really don't do much for support in here, and so I'm kind of rethinking giving them up, but I don't know how to do anything different. Like, I guess stacks of 2x6 bricks or something like that. Because these came with, now that I think about it, I might redo that. These came with the Futron sets, the monorail sets. Let me see what that looks like. I may order, I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do that. They want this back by like May the 1st or May the 4th. So I've got a month. I might try to see if I can redo this because these things are expensive. These are like $4 each. And I only got them through the monorail sets, right? The old space sets. So I want to keep them, but there's 8 of them in here and I don't exactly know what to do to replace them. So let me try a few things real quick. I'm gonna see if I can make do with, this will be a nice test to see if it can be done. You know, you get some 6x6 bricks or something. I've got lots of 6x6 bricks and I can order more of these pretty cheap. So that is in the middle. You have to see how high it goes. And it's not like I want to screw over Bricks and Minifigs or anything. I just want to see if it's doable to, because again, these aren't really holding anything up. They're kind of holding up the outsides, the walls. So I sacrifice a few 2x6 bricks to replace them. Yeah, I can't tell if it's the same height or not. Seems to be. So if I were to replace them with something like this, that might work. All right, so that'll be something to work on. And we can work on that now. I think I've got enough to do that. So 3 and 6 and 3 and 6. One short. Oh no, right there. So that's enough for that. How many? 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 2x4s. Camera's locked up again. Maybe it doesn't like this resolution. That didn't screw up any didn't look like it screwed up the rest of it. No, that's no good. Yeah, that seems to be okay. I don't know why it keeps crashing out like that, but anyway. So I could probably... these things are such a pain to get off. That goes back there. Ha. So yeah, not only was this not done without Studio, it was done without Bricklink. Which means, like I was saying before, a lot of these pieces were just what I had available at the time. Well, what we had available. This was a combination effort, but it was just the pieces that we had from old sets. Trying to clean it as I go too, a little bit. So not only was it kind of not the best parts available, but since we were doing with what we could, with what we had, a lot of these parts just weren't, a lot of the build techniques weren't great. There's a lot of like these whole sections of the sides along here in the studio window down there, these whole corners are like, that's it. They're just these tall corners. They're not attached to anything. Had I done it differently, I would have put like right in here, I would have put like, corner bricks or something to tie these two together. So there's nothing tying these two together. So what I may do, I'm not going to change it too much for this because it's survived this long. It's fine. But in the design itself, I may go back and make it so if it got built ever again, it would be built a little stronger, What's up, Greg? How are you? Hope you're doing well. I've already unearthed a couple white bricks. So the other story is the actual UT tower is not pure white. It is very white looking, and they do resurface it every once in a while, but it is made out of limestone from the area. So it's a big deal for people, Texans, to know that the Capitol's made out of marble from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sunset pink granite from the area called Marble Falls. So the limestone of the tower is important too because it's made from rock of the area, right? And limestone is not, it fades, it yellows. So, the coffee and tea got a whole lot of trouble because they caused quite a, oh God. Dad jokes. Just going somewhere with this. So I was at, I don't even remember where I was. It was before the tower was built. But it was at a Lego event. So, I mean, I had to have gone to at least one, probably Brick Fiesta. Maybe as, I don't think somebody displaying anything, because I don't know what I would have displayed. I don't think I built any MOCs up until then. This would have been one of the earliest MOCs I had made. I think I'd built like a couple of Star Wars ships, but I don't think I took them to anything. So if I did go to a convention, it was just to view and have fun and hang out, and it was with all the friends in the lug kind of thing. So sorry, I keep getting up for parts. So I ran into somebody, and I knew I was building this at the time. Here, that's the thing. I knew I was building this, and I knew I didn't like the way the white was looking. And I started monkeying around with like some yellowed pieces that I had, because the tan didn't look right either. And I was like, man, it's something that's just not working really well. So I ran into this guy who said that he had this bag of yellowed, he had like 200 yellowed white brick. And I think it was just 2x4s, but it may have been like a myriad of other bricks as well. Oh, these things are such a pain to get off. And there's no groove in there to lift them up. And of course, had I not changed my mind, it would have been easier. Still waiting on your 4K copy of Salem's Lot. Wow, that's random. Oh, good gravy. It's another reason I kind of want to keep these. All right, so that's 3 down. I've got 4 more on this side, and I may be okay letting go of 4 of them. We'll see. But anyway, so I talked to this dude, and I was like, he's like, I will sell you those yellowed bricks. Uh-oh, it says I dropped some frames earlier. Did I skip and stuff a lot recently? Hope not. I ended up buying a bag of yellowed brick, and it really helped with the look of the model itself. And I think part of the reason it worked so well over the years is it really did look like it was made of limestone. And it wasn't just this bright white gleaming thing, because when you look at the building itself, it's not bright white. It's whitish, but it's, it fades and wears and stuff over time. So I think that helped. So that was a big boon. So now anytime I get yellowed white pieces like this, like that's pretty gnarly on that one side. That's definitely a piece that was facing out and then was covered on all the other sides. You can kind of see how bad that is. Now I try to save every yellowed brick I have, just in case. Sometimes I'll go through and do the process of whiting them, putting them in peroxide and sitting them in the sun for a day. But sometimes I'll just keep a collection of yellowed bricks, because who knows? might end up something like this. Okay, so that's done. Cool. And hopefully it's the same height. I'm worried that these have this weird top and it's like a thin plate, and then those the studs aren't really studs, they're like big tubes. So I'm worried that this isn't the exact same height, but I think it's fine. We will find out shortly. So next process is to probably just take these corners and move them over. And where did I leave the corners over here? Right at that plate. Okie doke. And again, these are just, it's not put together well. Like, I appreciate the fact that I was a younger builder, but one wrong move and these things, this will just come right apart. And half the time there's nothing in there to hold it together. So I don't know how it got quite so, how it lasted this long. It's almost like you feel like an old car where you feel like it's just being held together by the gunk. And if you go get anything fixed, it's going to completely fall apart. But yeah, you can see these are just, they're really just, there's nothing in there holding them together. And again, because we were building with what we had, this wasn't, if I were to do this again, I would buy all new pieces. I would make sure all this interior stuff was tied together a little better. This has never fallen apart. So something works. Something worked in here where it never fell apart. And I'm hoping by taking it apart so I can see how it was built, I'm not destroying whatever was keeping it held together. Something is goofy here. Nope, just leaning forward, funny. It does have a very satisfying, like, I don't know if you can hear it, like when I'm pushing down on it, it's got that creaking. But the older it gets, the more creaky it gets, so. I also was doing this where I tipped it upside down and I peeled the old plate off. The old plate was really gnarly. This is the old plate. And I gave it a nice new dark gray plate. I don't know if you can see how, not really in the light too much. And I brushed it up and cleaned it a bit, but it was filthy, first of all. It was years and years and years of stuff like just kind of falling inside it and settling. So this whole center was just gross. It hasn't really yellowed all that much. And the odd thing is, it's a little faded on the edges where it wasn't covered. But this was already an old plate by the time I was building on it. Like, this was an old space plate from Futron days or classic space days. So by the time I used this, it was already old. I kind of wanted to reclaim this because I don't have a whole lot of just gray plates. So I thought it'd be fun to get one of these back. And I got a million of these dark gray plates, and I don't think it detracts anything or whatever from the value or from the look of it. So I have recovered a couple printed, and this was important, printed 1x2 or 1x4 bricks that had like black lines on them that were very much classic space or Futron. And if I ever wanted to rebuild any of those, I'm glad I saw those, because I'm like, oh, that again was using what I had, you know. So being able to find that kind of stuff was very helpful. And another reason I wanted to do this. And this is going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to try to get it done as much as I can. But this is just the bottom third of the tower. There's a whole other section that will sit on top of this that goes up about that high. And that's, again, that's all hollow. And the reason I kept that hollow was because there is a, let's see if I can find an image. Well, the thumbnail image for this turn that music down for myself a little bit. It's a bit loud. UT. So the reason it's hollow is so that I could put a light inside it and you can get a number 1 on it, right? So this section of that plate was, or this little area, you can kind of see where the light's coming through it. This panel pulls out, like it's just laying there. So it's a frame of corners, and then each of the sides is a panel you can kind of just pull away. This specifically is built to have transparent windows in the shape of a number 1, which is really hard to do if you want it to be transparent from the back, because you can't just like, it's not like water where you just throw a transparent brick on top of it and then it picks up the color from underneath it. If you want it to be like transparent with something behind it, there has to be another transparent brick behind that, or a plate. So I had to get 2x4 transparent plates, which at the time were not cheap and very hard to come by. And there was no brick link. So I had to figure out a place to, I don't even remember where I got them. I think I had to buy them from somebody in the group and was just like, hey, do you have some of these or whatever? So that's why I didn't do all 4 panels or all 4 sides, because I was like, I can't really do that. And now I think, I don't even know how much a 2x transparent plate is. Probably not a ton. Oh yeah, I don't think they're $5. It says they're $5, but I don't think that's the case. So I don't know how many I have in the set. I'll know after I'm done building it. But I want to say I probably have about 20. So yeah, $1 each. So yeah, they are kind of expensive. And nobody has more than... So it looks like if I were wanting to get of any quantity, they would be $5 each. Wow, that's crazy. But there's really no other way to do it, you know, unless you had like transparent plates that were really big that you could use, like a transparent 2x6. I know they make a trans light blue 6x6 or 8x8 or something like that. I wonder if I can just find out transparent plates. I wonder if I could search for that. Trans clear plate. If that would come up with anything. Yeah, if you want a 6x8 trans clear plate, it's $60. If you want a 2x8, it's $20. So, I mean, these are not cheap, you know. Oh, you know what? This might be a good alternative. Except nobody's selling them. They're only $1, but nobody's selling them. But yeah, that's... As much as I don't want to get rid of those, I don't hardly use them for anything. Like, I don't remember the last time I used a trans clear plate for anything. So even if you use one of these, like trans clear anything, unless it's a 1x1 or a 1x2, is extraordinarily expensive. Or this round one. So getting a pretty good deal with, you know, 20 of those trans clear plates. All right, next problem is making sure everything's lined up. And again, I had to take this apart upside down because the only way I felt was a really good way to kind of get at the guts of it and build it up in the software was to kind of build from the ground up, flip it over, take it apart that way down. So I think that works pretty good. So we go back to this. And if you guys have questions about any of this process, or if you have questions about the building itself, or you can't see something, or you want to know something about the build technique or something, let me know. Again, I feel a little sad that this is the last time one of the last times I'm going to be dealing with it, but I know where it lives. I can always go and say hi. I can always go and say I built that. But now it'll be like I built this and now they own it. So they're able to do whatever they want with it. So it's almost like a long-term commission in reality. Okay. So this next part's going to be a little tricky because it's got some stuff built on top of here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this one layer at a time. So these plates right here have stuff built on top of them, or underneath them. Okay, so what I did on the software then was a little backwards here. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is transfer this next layer, and then this whole square is going to go over here. So hopefully, without too much problem. And I'm basically doing one-to-one, like these aren't going to be the exact same sides. So this is going to be kind of a Ship of Theseus thing where, is it the same tower? Because I've kind of moved it all over the place. I want to kind of do it one at a time. So this past week we did, I don't know if I've done a stream since South by. I don't think I have. Well, I don't know. Did I? South by was last week. Let's get rid of some of this stuff. It was last week, right? Yes. Well, no. Last week was... Yeah, so it was last week. No, I haven't. Yeah. So I really wasn't able to talk about South by even. So... Several of us went to South by Southwest. 4 of us. But I feel like it was a good... Ooh, look how gnarly that brick is. Look how gross. So we can get it to focus a little better. Look how grody that brick is. Happily giving up some of these bricks because they are just absolutely gross. Give it a once over with the toothbrush, but that's about it. And I do feel like they're the reason some of this is still together, is it's just sticking. So we did South by Emerging Tech Expo. And the Emerging Tech Expo, so when I asked them if we could participate, I was like, we basically said we're not vendors. We don't have anything to sell. We're just a hobbyist group. Is there any way we can get into like the education track or the innovation track? And what we ended up with was, graciously, South by was very good to us. We were just going to be in the hallway outside. and they ended up putting us in the room. All right, and I'm going to turn this and keep going. So we were in the room with all the other vendors. And really good placement because we were in the very back, but there was basically a grid, I would say, of like, let's say 8 big chunks, right? And then like a big middle row and then 2 other big side rows. And if you walked in the main kind of area and walked right down the main aisle of the room, Bart's giant, lug member Bart has a giant Crystal Palace MOC, and it was just sitting right in eye view, right? Brightly lit, big white thing. Now, we aren't a professional company that has money invested in whatever product that we're trying to sell. So one second. Sorry, talking with Josh about our Discord. We've got a lot of spam coming in our Discord lately, so we're trying to figure out. It's not a huge Discord, so we're not as, and not everybody in our group uses Discord, so it's a little weird to like spend so much time on it when not everybody's using it. So anyway. All that to say about we're not a company, we're not bringing our A game to sell things, is because they have these really nice big displays, and they travel the country doing these displays, right? It's not just South by. They go to all sorts of conventions and they go to all sorts of expos trying to hawk their wares about their latest and greatest, right? And we aren't. We're a hobbyist group, and when people got to our table, the first question is, so what are you selling? And we had to say, we're not selling anything. We are promoting our club. We are just a local Lego hobbyist organization here in Austin. We do have a convention in July that we're promoting. So, I mean, I guess we're selling tickets to that if you want to go. And most people are like, I'm from New York, I'm from San Francisco, so it really didn't apply. On Wednesday, this was Monday and Tuesday. On Wednesday, we did get a lot of public. So that was a little more, hey, if you're in Austin and you're here in July, then come to Brick Rodeo. But the first couple days was very much, so what are you doing here? And we're like, well, we're, along with the, are you selling anything, was the, well, are these 3D printed bricks? Are you competing with Lego somehow? Are you using, and I had a monitor and studio up where I was designing things. And I think I put the couple, not only did I do a couple microfighters, but I was able to finish the digital version of the Q2 Stadium portion that I've been working on while I was there. We're like, no AI was being used in the software. They wanted to know if they could just take a picture of something, run it through the software that I was using, and have it be and then have it come out as a model, and then just 3D print the model. So that's really taken the fun out of Lego, 100%. Like, if you just want something built out of Lego and you don't want to do it, you can commission us to do that. Like, you can pay somebody to do that. Well, but if there's software to do it, why could we just do that? I'm like, okay, if that's what you want. So there was a lot of that. There were a handful of people who were there as educators, and those people we talked to for a really long time about the lack of motorization, support for programming and stuff like that, and how expensive it all is. So We talked to quite a few of those people. One guy asked, he just walked up the table and was looking at it, and he's like, so these are real Lego? And I said, yep. And he goes, can I push a fluid through it? And I've got a model there that's like moving. And I'm like, it took me a couple seconds and I kind of just stuttered, you mean through this? And I kind of pointed at mine. He's like, no, like in general, can you make something that you could have a fluid be passed through it? And the fact that he kept saying fluid really freaked me out a little bit. I'm like, dude, you're making me uncomfortable. Like, I don't know what to do about your request for fluid. He was trying to find out if somebody could make him a replica of a geothermal plant. Like, he was working with a company that administers or provides services or parts or technology for a geothermal plant or a series of plants. And he wanted to know if there could be something that could be built where you could build a small scale model and have it kind of functional. And after I got that information, I'm like, why don't you start with that? You know, just come up to a table and go, can you push a fluid through it? It's like, get off. So I was like, well, Lego's notoriously leaky, right? It's not airtight. It's not waterproof. It's got tolerances, but it's not, you know, it can't hold a vacuum and it won't keep liquid in. It's like you're better off maybe using it to design the exterior of the building and then the interior, maybe 3D print something, like if you're expecting it to have fluid dynamics involved somehow. So that was weird. The other thing that was really weird is some guy came up and asked, he said, his words, he just came up to me and said, hey, I've got to talk to you. Like, he came around the side of the table and kind of leaned over and was like, hey, I've got to talk to you. I was like, uh-oh, are we in trouble? This is like an hour into the first day. He's like, my wife works for the Indianapolis Speedway or the Indianapolis group or whatever. Yeah. And they did a thing with Lego where they built an old car for like 70 years of Indy or something. And I went, yeah. I remember seeing pictures. He goes, yeah, that's in my garage. I'm like, oh. And he's like, do you know what I can do to get rid of it? And I'm like, wait. You have the car in your garage. He's like, well, it's not the full car. It's the pieces. It's the Lego pieces that were on the car. And the whole thing was built out of Legos except for like the tires. So it's basically the shell of the car. And he goes, and I can't find anybody I can really give this to, right? They didn't want it back. We contacted them and we waited. We never heard back from them. And I'm like, okay. He's like, and I talked to the store and nobody there really kind of had any idea what to do with it. But I figured you guys might know what to do with something like that. And I was like, you know what? That's a real good assumption. There's a guy in our group who rebuilds classic race cars. This might be right up his alley. So now I have to talk to this guy in our group, Rich, who rebuilds classic sports cars, classic racing cars. He races them at the F1 tracks here in Austin. So here's another frame. And look how gross. You can just see how gross and dusty that is. Blech. Blech. All right. So I'm going to fish these things out here. These all go as part of it. And I'm going to crack over and check out the design. Make sure this all works up here. And I do think I'm going to end up keeping these stanchions. So I'm going to have to rebuild these stanchions with other bricks somehow. So that we can do in the software. We'll figure out how to replace this frame in the software. I don't think it'll be that hard. I think we'll just end up... this isn't supporting anything. The only thing this supports is... if I can hold it up without completely falling apart, and I can't. This is because this is how I make things work. You see those dark gray plates in there? That's what the tops of those stanchions are going to. And the dark gray plates are then built into the side of the walls. So that's how it's keeping the walls square. but there's nothing sitting on top of these. These kind of support a rim around the side that the other section of the tower sits on. So in a way, these are helping, but it doesn't need to be these stanchions. I can just build the inside a little, doesn't have to be these. It can be just brick, and that might be better. So what I'm going to do is here in the software, I'm going to go ahead and replace some of this stuff. First things first, I'm going to dust. I don't know what happened to my... I had a brush. Have a brush. This is my old watercolor brush. I still have a watercolor brush, but once the sides get like that, where they're a little frayed, this now becomes a dusting brush. If you have makeup brushes, those work really well too. Soft brushes like this work really well because they don't scratch the brick. Some of these are grimy enough that they're going to require a wash. They're going to have to be put in a dishwasher and a cheesecloth or something. That. So gross. Yeah, some of this dust has seen some stuff, man. This is some old stuff. Not to mention I could get a few of these corner plates back. That'd be nice. So ideally, just go like this. So after the fact that we had, I heard a creak that sounded like it was going to break. But this is old red, so I don't think it will. All right, so I basically want the same thing as this. So what I'll do is I'm going to just remove these. I kind of painted myself into a corner because it's hard to see into this. Except these are all, yay, I was smart. Okay, they're all groups. So I'm going to replace these. Let's just get rid of them. And then with these sitting here, we'll see if my my makeshift stanchion stacks up, as it were. So I'm going to color these. They're dark gray in my model, but I'm going to give them whatever color the software thinks is cheapest. And I'm going to build this real quick. So once everybody was used to us not selling anything, then we did get a lot of people coming over and just their faces got really, it lit up when they realized that we were just there to have a good time and share a love of Lego and not really pressure people into buying stuff. And I think they appreciated that. So, and again, the organizers were really nice in allowing us to be there at all. Like we didn't pay to be there. They gave us a really nice spot. They took care of us really well. We were in constant communication with them. I do hope we can go back next year. One thing I did find out was that despite, and I know I've talked about that on this channel, trying to contact the LAN to get some sort of like, hey, we're going to be at South by, it's a big thing. Do you want us to demo anything for Lego while we're out there? This isn't, and I wasn't like, this isn't for our group. This is for you. We will be there doing our thing. Do you want us to do anything for you? Does Lego want anything? And they were like, no. At first it was no, I don't know that we really like the event. we'll see if we can get something done for you guys. And after a while, and I didn't hear, I said, okay, well, smart bricks are now out. Would you like, oh, whoops. Those are already in there. Get rid of those. Do you have any smart brick sets that you can send us and we can demo while we're out there? And here's my hope is that it is cool. Cool. Do you want us to demo some smart bricks? And they said they couldn't get us any in time. And this was 3 months ahead of time. We had one of the people who were there go out and buy a set. Just went out and bought a smart brick set so we could have it to display there at the Emerging Tech. It was not only that. There were 4 other Lego events there, 3 of which in the same building as us, 2 of which were the Lego group. Other groups were using their like innovation strategies seminar, and they used Lego to teach something, right? So it wasn't officially Lego, but there were 2 official Lego things there. So one of the guys in our group, Will, said it's kind of and I think these went like this. He said it's kind of like a brain dead octopus. The other one hand doesn't know what the other is doing, right? Yeah, and this is going to take some doing when I get back up to the top because that is really wonky. So this basically supports 6. What are these plates? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm guessing 12 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, this is probably a technique that I didn't need to do, but because of the plates that I have now, I'm not gonna change it. But what I'm gonna change is these stanchions. And again, I'm coloring them these weird colors because I don't really care what is inside it. It can be any color it needs to be as long as it's that size, right? So whatever plate you have or brick of that color doesn't matter. So I'm going to put these where I think they go on here. I won't really know until the walls are a little higher up. And that's on the tubes. I don't want that on the tubes. Where's that one? That one's one over. But overall, South by was great. We did get to talk to a lot of people. Again, some educators. It should result in a little square in the middle. There was still a lot of people who were like, is this, can I leave my kid with you? And it's kind of like, no, this is really a babysitting club. It's an adult fan oriented Lego group. We get together, we share our hobbies, and we go to events like this. So that wasn't super hard for people to pick up. I think they gathered it after a while. So that was good. Okay, so now I'm going to replace this. I think I can take these off, hopefully. And they weren't structurally viable or anything. Load-bearing stanchions. Which in previous sets, they may have been load-bearing stanchions. But think I might be able to replace, now that I think about it, I don't know why I'm replacing with all those bricks. I have so many stanchions. Thanks to the Mars base, we now have bags of stanchions. I'm wondering if these will work instead. I don't think they'll be as stable, so what I'm going to do maybe is I'm going to keep this down here, and then I'm going to replace these with these other stanchions. Although, you know, there's something to be said for the stability of these bases. All right, so we're going to put this frame in here. The big thing is not to concern so much about the digital build, but the physical build, because I got to get this done and sent back to them. I can come back and tweak this all I want. Build cam is out of focus. Is it back into focus now? There we go. Thank you, Bev. And again, there's a lot of these little offshoot things like this that are just to keep the walls from collapsing in. Because when I'm building these things, I'm not building it as an architecture, I'm building it as an artist. And the artist says, make the facade look really good. Well, what's behind it? And I don't care. All I wanted to do was take sections of this wall and make it so these 1x1 tiles, I can't even pick this plate up. Those 1x1 tiles represented the windows. That was the structure I went off of. So I based most of the building around the way this section looks, right? 1x1 tile, 1x2 black tile is a window, build around that. I don't like that there's studs underneath the windows there. I'm not okay with that, but that would have required plate tile, and that wouldn't have looked as good. So, you fight some battles, and again, I think at one point I ran out of 1x2 tiles. Like I had to leave entire sections of the wall without windows because we didn't have enough tiles at the time. Whereas now I'm like, psh, let's just order some new tiles. We didn't have that back then. Didn't have that luxury. What is happening here? So far, none of these parts are specifically important. And that all works pretty well. That's all pretty stable now. I'm liking that. The way it was. So in order to replace these, I need something that's got a big base there, a 6x6 maybe. And then it has to build up to this central section. And if I do these, It would have to be on a plate. It would have to be something like this. But I think that is now going to be a plate higher. So we'll have to see if this works or not. But we'll give that a shot. Because I have a lot of these. So we're going to try that. See how that works. What else happened at South by? Justin was there, so a lot of people recognized him from Lego Masters. Will was there, and he was our good representative of Brick Rodeo. That's kind of what we're there promoting. Bart was there. He was a good representative of Tech Slug. In terms of like, droops so bad in the middle there. In terms of like people who are really passionate about being part of the group. And of course I was there as the group ambassador, but you know, that's my job. Okay. All right, next step. I think we're in a good space. Let's replace these and see if see what happens when I do this. So plate 8, nope, 6 by 6. And what color is the cheapest? A lot of these are cheapest in lime. I don't know why. So how's everybody's weekend? What have y'all been up to? Go to any new movies, play any games, go to any parties, visit any family? Nope, those aren't stanchions. What are those? What are these? They've got a name. It's not pylon. Girder? Girder. Support. I don't know which one this is. Triangular sections. It's not that one. I don't think it's... It might be this one. And these are cheapest in orange. That's freaking wild. All right, so these are going to be one off. So in the real building, what do I have to do? Is it plates? Why does it assume I don't want to put this thing completely on top of the other thing? Lime again, man. Okay, so I'm going to replace these to be the same height. So frustrating. So one of these is going to be... and get 2 plates for each of these. Oh, hey, happy birthday. There's a lot of birthdays right now. Yesterday we went to a friend's birthday at Meanwhile Brewing. Her birthday is actually today. One of our best friends' birthday is tomorrow. Yeah, what was going on 9 months ago? End of March, so that's 3 months. End of July 4th, babies? July 4th weekend, babies? Interesting. Happy birthday, regardless of what happened 9 months ago. Lego store on Friday. Oh, nice. I need to get down there. There was a pick-a-brick part that I kind of wanted. I think I may have missed it. I always want to go down and hit the pick-a-brick wall, and I always want to get new figures. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't really need them. Like, I always look at the pick-a-brick wall as, do I need any of this for stuff that I'm currently building? And in most cases, I don't. So I end up talking myself out of it and just getting what I need off Bricklink or something. Ooh, the magnolia branches. Nice. That actually looks like a good one to do. All right, so the next big thing, I'm going to show all now. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to rotate it slightly because of OCD. I'm going to get rid of these bricks. Do these plates. Where did it go? It's a good birthday, going and getting some Lego. All right, making good progress. So the next step is going to take these rest of these walls, hopefully in sections, and just plop them over into the new one. Like so. Oh, and here's another. Glad I found this. Every once in a while I'll find a printed brick. So that will need to be replaced, and I have, to replace it, a yellowed brick. So that works out good. It's a very yellowed brick. It might almost appear tan, so I hope it doesn't come off as too tan. Actually, let's get the rest of these. Do one level at a time. But yeah, you can see, so that's the wall. That's kind of how it all started, was that's what I wanted it to look like. That may be too yellow of a brick up there. Maybe I'll just turn it around. The other thing is, some of these bricks are so old that I know it's supposed to be that Lego goes together with itself no matter what, really, but some of these older bricks are really hard to get back together. So this is what the back looks like. It's got all those headlight bricks in it to hold those tiles, and you can see it's not a perfect fit. I would have done it differently now, It's a headlight brick plus another brick to get it just the right distance. It works great from the underside, but I think the top side with the stud there is a little kind of like, okay. But so this should go here. Yeah, just on top. No problems. And then we got one full side done. And show everything here. This should be the same construction as this. I just may need to add to it a little bit. So I'll need to add a couple more layers because it's got like one more set of windows. So I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to release that one. And I'm going to leave this over here as a template piece and just so I can use it for future walls. But it looks like we'll need everything above that tan brick. And I'm going to say okay. Paste this out here. And I'm going to cut it. Say okay. Oh no, I don't want to do that. All right, I got to think this through. This is going to be a new thing. So we'll release this. We'll add this. Then we'll group this. Put this back in here. Okay. Should be flush with the top. Sort of. We got to take these little bits. I didn't take those off yet, so we'll work on those next. But that should be good. Okay. And that lines up with this thing. So these can't be this green color because they stick out as part of the ledge up here. So these do have to be dark gray. Dark bluish gray. Because they will become part of the wall up here, the superstructure. As soon as I get all the remaining pieces of the wall up here, we'll do that. But we're getting pretty close. I don't think I'm going to try to get this done in the next couple days. Maybe more of this tonight, maybe one more segment on Thursday if I'm not busy Thursday. This last couple weeks have been so busy that I just assume all of my weekends going forward are also equally busy, but I don't think I've got anything going on. So I might do this again, depending on how far I get, because I want to have it done by Friday or Saturday to take back to them. But I will work on, and a lot of it, since it's copy and paste, it's really easy to get most of this done. And then there's just one more section of wall above this. So it shouldn't be that hard. And in fact, I don't need that anymore. I also like to keep track of like the parts, how many parts it is so far. So with all the groups, you can't really see, but so far 2,000 parts, and we're kind of almost done with the bottom section. We got another 100 parts to go. So let's say 2,500 parts for the bottom. The middle section may not have as many parts, but I would say another 1,500 for that, and then another 1,000 for the top. So 5,000 pieces total. All right, so this works in the software now. Now the trick is make sure it works up here, because that's I want to make sure that that works. The top of this roof is really I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty wonky. In that the little ring, the whole thing is offset. First of all, I don't know if you've noticed. So down here at the bottom, and this was a failing on my part, I always do this. If you look at the bottom, there's 3 studs that way. And if you look at any other side, 3 studs there. But then this side, 2 studs and 2 studs, right? So it is off somewhere. It's one longer somewhere. And I think that was because there's 5 windows across, right? There's 5 windows across here. So I wanted this to be the middle, but there's no middle on a base plate. The middle is between 2 studs, unless you do a jumper. And I didn't want to make the whole thing on a jumper. You can, like, well, if I wanted to go back and put this whole thing on a jumper so it sits center on the plate, but there's no reason that it needs to sit center on the plate, right? It's just on a plate. So this whole thing is off by 1 stud because there's a central single stud wide window as the center of the wall. So that's where the whole thing got designed out from. So that's why that's like that. So that works pretty well. And you can see how gross. I should have cleaned this a little bit. I think I'll take this back and clean it a little bit. I don't know if you can see the level of dust in there. You can kind of see it. Focuses okay. How dusty it can get over time. Just being, and this this is an enclosed section. This is the dust that just gets there from an enclosed section. So pretty gnarly. And some of this is what I like to call institutional dust, because I don't think it's ever going to go away. Yeah, and some of the grime is just so on there, you'd need to wash it. And I'm not gonna stick these through the washing machine. They're just gonna have to kind of be gross. And a lot of them are hidden. You're not gonna see all this. I'll replace the stuff up top that is pretty gnarly and grody. But for the most part, I'm not going to worry about it. And again, I'm shocked how much these old pieces just don't want to come apart. Like, they're really on there. It's also weird kind of building things upside down. I made that choice. So what's everybody's plans coming up for this week? Or now that it's nearly April, what do you got going on in April? Any plans for new movies, or you got excited for video games coming out? I know Greg said he was waiting for copies of a show that he really liked, or a movie, or a miniseries. Good. Sounded really crunchy. No plans this week? Cool. That's not attached to anything? That seems out of the ordinary. I finished up talk about books for a second. Finished up the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series with the last book, Mostly Harmless. And I gotta say, I'm not a fan of Mostly Harmless. Like, it was weird and dark, and it didn't end really happy, and... Oh. Those are not... This wall just does not seem to want to, like, lower. I think some of these bricks are just too old for their own good. Kind of want to get a mallet in here. See if that helps a little bit, but I also have to remember that some of these aren't supported really well down here. So. But I also just realized something. That doesn't have to be like that. Camera locked up, yay! I think I'm fine for it right now. I just realized that these don't have to be in the area they are. They can be closer in over here because it's just in the corner. This central thing, again, is not supporting anything. The support's coming from like right along this edge. So it really doesn't matter how deep these go. I'll reconsider that. Mostly because I don't have, I think the only reason I did that is because I had these in here. But with these other things, I don't need these plates holding it up.